Yo, I'm rebroadcasting the Talking Apes into Talking Crackers.
I forgot that
Oh,
nigga
what's
strong.
this?
But PhD, you about to start the room up?
Yeah. I'm about to start the room. I'll see y'all in a minute.
Alright, baby.
I'm about to go talk to these white people first.
Alright, nigga.
Alright.
I'm about to go in the room, y'all.
Um, I was just listening in for a second, and I heard you talking about your heart rate. My wife has a condition. Actually, she has two conditions that affect her heart. One is mitral valve prolapse.
So I just want to relax at home for a bit. Also, I spent all of Sunday stressing about Monday, so I feel I can get an actual.
Well, all my classes in classes, it's just straight caffeine, so.
Yo, look at Ellen. She looks so high in that PTR, but you don't look happy, Ellen. You gotta find true love. When you smoke a blunt, have a tequila, and go on Bumble and Hinge and just really swipe right on what you feel and what you see. You got me, Ellen? No more 45, 50, 60-year-old men just for the money. You gotta date for love, honey.
I'd rather marry for money. Sorry, Adrian, I love you so much, but no, thank you.
Well, I ain't gonna say you wrong, but good luck.
I appreciate that so much.
So I am also unapologetically black, and I'm also live streaming this room onto my OnlyFans account as well as my other clown house called Crackers Talking.
We know you're not black, and we know you're streaming.
That's not true. Everybody came out of Africa. I just came out sooner than you. Obviously, you ain't black. You just highly suntanned. There ain't no such thing as black. It's just people that been in the sun for a lot of generations. This is Stoner's Alley. You're supposed to be chill, Stoner. Don't get angry. You got a nice looking back. Can I wash it? Do you want me to come over there and wash your back? That's my dog. Wash my back, baby.
Dirty ass mother that fucking gave birth to you, bitch.
Lying on your mama.
Die in your sleep.
Fucking lying on your mama, bitch.
Miss me, baby.
Hey, where the fuck you go? You don't know where you went. Oh, okay. How you fell for it? Hey, hot girl, what you doing? Yeah. Wait, what? I'm talking about Adrian. Get under my skin. Are you okay?
Yeah, who you talking to, dog? Don't you know Ellen? Ellen's top G, dog.
Why don't you ask me though, bro?
You about to get removed. Shut up. You sound like a bum.
What this nigga added? This nigga about
Yeah, it's called OnlyFansvid.com. You live on my live stream. It's called a love stream, and we making that cheddar. We making them biscuits, gravy, fucking OnlyFan cam dollars. Ooh, child. If you only knew how much money there was in video on demand. Our number one content creator is DJ Pack and Tato. Ooh, I like that butterfly in the back of that strap.
These niggas mad day room, you know?
So who got the good kush? Okay. Hello? 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 And then try to get yourself a nice microdermabrasion and rub that face real good now. Get some sunshine on that face because your skin is not looking that good. I got to say. It does not look that good. Look at that skin. That don't look healthy. You look to me like you a little yellow.
Michael, I don't know what this nigga when you got some good skin.
Really? You think so? I think it could look better.
What's your routine though? For real, for real.
You do have nice lips though, Ellen. I gotta say, you have really pretty lips. Nice, very perfect, big, beautiful lips.
Adrian, shut up.
Whoever your 50, 60-year-old with all that money is, he's gonna appreciate them beautiful lips and that pretty face. But I'm just trying to get that skin condition to clear up a little bit. I am a dermatologist in the real world. You do know that. I have my MD in dermatology.
This nigga name is Adrian.
Adrian Dittman, put some respect on that name.
Oh man, these niggas so funny.
We going live streaming with my boyfriend, Zach Ruder. My mom thought that Ishmael was my boyfriend because he was at my house at 9 a.m. in the morning. But it turns out we were just live streaming. He wasn't at my house. Oh, he declined to come on live. Put some respect on that name. Don't you mute me. All right, everybody, I'm starting a new show. It's called the N Word Show. If you want to join the new room, the new house, it's called OnlyFansVid.com. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you all for coming. I'm so glad you came, and I hope you come again.
Good morning, y'all. What's your word? Shit. I felt that good too.
I'm glad. I don't feel bad, no.
That's my nigga Garbage Man. What's the word, man? What's the word?
A big champion with the incredible billions that he made, but also as an incredible environmental warrior. And we can tell from just studying his history that neither are true, right? He was obsessed with destroying people's lives. Goldman Sachs had a deep role in destroying the farms in India and the locally run farms to centralize the food production that was going on in India. And in the process, destroying those people's lives who had lived out in the country. So that's what those people are really up.
Well, in the government. I didn't even want to know. I didn't even want to know more, but just from what he told me, and I mean, just from his involvement, I was like, bro, you need to get the fuck out of whatever you're in, because it's so above your pay grade. I don't know who can save you if something really troubling happens to you. Like, you're fucking around with people who are federal agents, who are generals, who, you know what I mean? Like, this is how people disappear in D.C. I was trying to let them know. I said, people disappear all the time in D.C. like this because you get caught up in something, you know what I mean? And the people who are doing it are never going to let that shit come to light and be exposed. So I said, bro, just be careful with what you're doing. Shit like that is all over D.C. and people know where to find it. You know what I mean? But if you go and you find it, you don't ask questions. You don't ask because right. Remember we were talking about that weird occult group called the Family about human trafficking.
Family?
Like, yeah. Shit like that. I mean, there's groups like that still around in DC, and you know better because the people here are so powerful and connected. Like you'll just disappear and shit, right? Like kids disappear all the time in DuPont Circle, and nobody knows where they are, but everybody knows, unofficially, like what happened to them. So, you don't hang out there because if you hang out there and you disappear, you're probably a trafficked child. So, shit like that. You're just growing up in DC, you just know certain places, right? And it's not like local traffickers. If you hang out there, everybody knows you probably end up in an international trafficking ring. Because all the prostitutes, all the models here in DC come from that shit. There's no like official modeling agency here in DC, which is a city only 5 miles north to south, 7 miles east to west. You see what I mean? We don't have shit like that, like Miami and New York. So everybody knows all the shit here is illegal. They fly in boys and girls from wherever.
Right. For the sex trafficking industry.
Oh
yeah, there's a documentary.
It's huge here. Like the people working for Congress, they make $500 to $1,000 an hour, but everybody knows it's not legitimate. That they're off the books. Being
Amazing. Right. What are you doing for $500 to $1,000 an hour?
that what's his name? There was a gang congressman. Oh, Barney Frank. I don't know if you remember when he got caught in the news because he was running a call service out of his house, and he was living right on the border of Capitol Hill at DuPont Circle. He was like the first gay congressman, whatever. And he got busted because he was renting a room, owned a house. He was renting the basement to a young kid who was in the business from DuPont Circle, right? And he was like, I didn't know what was going on, blah, blah, blah. And everybody here in DC was like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. Like, of course you knew. You see what I mean? Like, how can somebody run an agency out of your house and you don't know, like, what's going on? Like, literally out of the house that you own. Shit like that happens all the time. The DC madam, I don't know if you remember her, she got busted up around 2004, 2005. She was running a high-level prostitute service for DC. She said, I service, like, Congress and high-level people. And then she had a trial, and she said, if I go to court, I'm going to reveal all the names in my black book, and then she mysteriously died, like, a week later. Shit like that happens all the time. Because the people who run that stuff, are mainly servicing people in Congress. Yeah, you can never let that shit come out.
Yep, you're right on. This is Cheeseburger. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just talking. I didn't mean to, take over the conversation.
No, it's all good. Everyone's kind of working and listening at the same time. But there's a documentary, I think it's from the late 80s, called Boys for Sale, which exposes the same thing, except it's in Hollywood. And like you said, the ones picking these kids up, and these aren't kids in their 20s, these are kids ran away from at 10 and 11, and they're prostituting, or, they're businessmen and executives and all that.
Yeah, most of them are runaways. We don't really have, local kids get into that shit. It's mostly, runaways, who just do it for survival. Or young people who come here, like LA or New York, and they don't realize how expensive it is, and they come into tough times, and you end up in a situation. You take a job once, and it's a lot more than you think it is, and then you get caught up.
Yeah, I know. I hear DC is astronomical. Their prices.
Oh, it's insane. Around 2000, like a one-bedroom, you can go 800 to 1200, and now I think you can't find anything less than 1800. That's for a junior one-bedroom with fucking cockroaches on the worst end of DC.
Oh, God.
It's insane. Yeah, so
Wow.
you're starting at 1800 to 2000, which is a huge jump. Right before COVID, you could still get a one-bedroom decent for 1200, 1500. So, same thing with home prices. So I don't know what the fuck people are doing. Everybody here in DC is bitching since COVID about, because imagine being out of work, It's like, who the fuck has 4, 5, 6 months rent stored up during COVID for that kind of shit?
The places where they're pricing people out, like they're doing the same shit in all the boroughs in New York. It makes you think, like, yeah, it's keep making these your little pedophile islands of politicians so they could run their shit, and the pedestrians aren't around, to bother them.
Yeah. I mean, these like nice little condo rich enclaves are nice, but it's like 20 years of it since Bush Jr. We've had 20 years of development, and gentrification. It's like we have enough condos already. I mean, shit's been overpriced for a minute. It's like we need to develop and not forget about affordable housing.
I know. And then when they do, they're going to give it to illegal immigrants.
Oh yeah, that bullshit. I hear about that in New York and these other cities. I'm like, there's a point where it just becomes stupid. It becomes
These are
nonsensical.
stupid and redundant. I know. It's not funny, but what the hell? What can you do but laugh?
I'm like, y'all are giving away, baseball fields and buildings that we spend local tax dollars on over years. You're just giving this shit away, kicking out people who are American citizens.
They're legally, right?
Yeah, who need the shit. It's like, I heard, where was that? They thought about doing that shit this summer somewhere here in Virginia. I'm like, what? You're gonna kick out American veterans out of a fucking shelter to put in a whole bunch of migrants that are being shipped up here from Miami? This shit doesn't even make sense, bro. It's like, what do we do? Like, we're kicking out veterans to put in illegal immigrants from Miami. Like, veterans who fought in the fucking wars in the last 20 years to put in fucking illegal immigrants. Like, what are we doing?
Stirring the pots. Stirring the pot.
Yeah. So it's happening all over. Whatever their plan is, balkanization and causing dysfunction and culture wars by shifting around people. Because my friend bitched about this during COVID, and I'm like, who has the money to shift around tens of millions of people globally, right? To affect markets and to fuck with, communities and their sovereignty like this. Like, none of us have money like this. To move around so many people, you got to be connected on a national, global level like that. So I was telling my friend, I said, it just seems like a lot of human trafficking. Because if you're in a business and you can plan 3 years out to make so many millions of profit, right? And then you have the means and the motivation to move all of those different people. Right? Hello, Esperanza. Good morning.
Hey, Eagle, how are you?
Doing good. Yeah, doing good. Just getting ready for work here. It's the fourth day in a row in DC where it's been continuously raining from whatever this storm is that came up in the south. But
oh yeah, Jersey too.
Oh yeah. I'm sort of sick of this rain now. It's been almost a week of rain every day. But yeah, it's a good day though.
It is.
Good mood. Yeah, how are you?
Good. I'm at work. Already here.
Oh, good. So you're already pushing, yeah?
Yeah. On break right now.
Awesome.
What's going on in DC? Anything? Did they announce anything? Like,
what's going on here? Let's see. No. People are, talking about the election, of course, because it's DC. Just general government stuff, getting prepared for the elections. Let's see, on the quiet end, they're getting ready for the inauguration, transfer of power, like last time. So they're secretly getting the DC National Guard together, and all the federal forces in case something happens, whether it's anybody, Trump or somebody foreign, what have you. What else? That's about it.
okay.
DC's been pretty quiet, yeah. Yeah, that's all that's going on. Last time, around the end of August, around my birthday, I had the PTR of all that stuff moving in DC, so I figured out what that was. When I saw the fighter jets and all that good stuff, which kept happening, that was stuff that they were selling to Ukraine, that they were, moving, right? So they were moving fighter jets and military equipment the last couple of weeks from all different parts of the country, and that was part of some Ukraine deal that Biden approved. So now we're shipping a whole bunch of we call it F-35s and a whole bunch of other stuff, giving them some tanks and all this stuff. But for us locally, like, it freaked us out, so we didn't know what was going on, right? Seeing squadrons of like fighter jets like fly over the city and all types of military equipment move. Yeah, other than that, things are great. So, for me personally, I'm deciding whether I want to be a DC delegate for the Democratic Party. It's the third invitation that I had. So there's only one voting DC delegate this year. So, and I was invited 4 years ago to be a DC delegate for the Democratic Party, and I turned it down. So I'm being invited again by those same people, and I don't want to, but they keep hounding me, so I need to give them some kind of formal response. And now they're asking me if I want to be like 4 years from now. The person who's like the DC delegate, who's the voting delegate for the Democratic Party, like I went to high school with, so I've known her my whole life, and she just really thinks it'd be good for me. But yeah, I'm so independent. I'm like, fuck both parties and the corruption that I don't really want to sign on to the Democratic Party. You know what I mean? And then your face is out there, your name is out there. You know what I mean? Like, even though you're not really anything important, like your whole life is out there once you become a delegate. I'm like,
That's true.
Want that attention. Yeah, I don't want that attention. Like, at this time in my life, you know, with how heated things are in politics.
Yeah, definitely not. To the military, so I work across the river from New York, right? And lately I've been seeing like military helicopters. Usually there's helicopters patrolling the Hudson River, but this time these military helicopters, they were like really low, and they were like hovering over where I was, and like they would like come and roll through in packs. I'm like, what is going on? That was like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I was like, this is things are getting heated. But then you just mentioned that they were getting supplies and stuff, so maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, it could be. Because we were thinking the same thing, you know, and I had friends in Valley, Virginia who were seeing similar stuff, and then there was nothing like locally. And then, what was it, maybe last week, 2 weeks ago, they quietly announced here locally they had made some huge sale. You know, a couple of weeks ago it was in the news, they were debating about whether they were going to sell these long-range missiles to Ukraine that could hit Moscow, right? But then I found out locally, because they print all of the government and military stuff here in the local news, which nobody nationally would read except for people here who are not working with the government. And it had to do with this huge sale, right? Dozens of fighter jets, tanks, long-range missiles, a whole bunch of other nasty stuff. But I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, so he's deciding before he leaves office to approve all of this shit, which was controversial, like during the 3.5 years when he was there, because I guess no one's paying attention now. So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I know. Like, how does that work out though? Like, we're not really paying attention, but where does that put us? Like, you know, 6 months from now, and then it could be World War III because you're fucking half senile, selling them God knows what out of our military stockpile.
Right. Oh my God. I don't think, maybe it's him, but I think it's somebody else signing off on these things.
Oh, for sure. I think there's like a group of, like you said, younger people who are, what do you call it, they're business minded and they can see the opportunity, pushing his decisions to make it profitable for him, for sure. So what's up, Sir Vic, and who else we have down there? Via and Cheeseburger and Jason. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so that's DC. Yeah. So, as for me, let's see. I'm just getting ready for winter, so I need to plan a trip back down to North Carolina. Been starting a family farm down there on 40 acres, so I need to go check on my produce. And before it gets cold and the things freeze over, I put in a new well, which cost me about $15,000 last year. So I need to go check and see how things are running. It's been about 9 months since I was down there. Last time I was down there, I picked up a couple of hunting dogs. You know, you guys saw the beagle in my PTR, so It's one of a couple of new hunting dogs that I picked up from my family. Training them to be service dogs, and then I give them away. So it's been about a year. Working on litter dogs, and then last year we were talking about like building personally, like your generational wealth, your life equity and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. You were talking about it in the room a while ago, but then I didn't want to change the subject, so.
Oh yeah, no. So for me, what I did personally is economically, you've heard people talk about the straw man and being in your proper status and all of that good stuff. So that was the first stage of like what I did. So establishing several lines of businesses in economic entities, right? Like DBAs, you can do business as, right? Part of that was taking over and how do I say this? Putting a structure to the family business, economic entities, and corporations that my family was already running. Sort of restructured them, and then I put them within trusts, right? And so when I was briefly talking about trusts, right, there are certain types of trusts where you can pass on your assets to your family members, your next of kin, and it's tax-free, right? And so there are several, but the one that I'm using is called a legacy trust, right? So with most trusts and wills, you can pass on things to your children, but you pay a property tax, a real estate tax, all of these things, an estate tax, death tax. With a legacy trust, I can pass on things to next of kin and family members, and there's no tax, there's no capital gains, there's no death tax, there's no property tax, there's none of that. So that's what I was doing, was consolidating all of that for my family, right? Managing and establishing the trust, and then putting like eggs, all of those different businesses into that specific trust, right? So not only are there the financial and the economic benefits, but it's also private, do you see what I mean? So private in the economic sense, like a hacker or another corporation, even if they have my information, cannot go and look and see this basket and this trust and see all the corporations in it. It's sealed by the court, right? You need a court order by a judge to actually go and look within my trust, right, as a business. So that was a protective measure too, right? And then just moving forward, right, with that. So when things happen, things can pass, and there's no penalties, right, that we would pay as a family. On the land part, 40 acres, talking about growing stuff, right, as generational wealth. So the well was for the new orchard that I did. So that was last year. I was putting in apple trees. So it takes about 4 to 5 years, for apple trees to mature, what have you. I was doing calculations on that as to how to create wealth, as to not pay any tax on the land. So you figure 1 acre gets me about 500 apple trees, right? Each apple tree gets you so many apples, you see what I mean, right? And you average it out, and then, so that's what I was doing last year, where I was working out local contracts with farmers associations, and establishing with the local farmers markets, right, my business brand, right, establishing myself on paper, and going through all of that, and the methodology of what kind of farmer I'm going to be. So I already have an existing business in that, right, from when I lived in Hawaii. So I do soil remediation for residential and commercial, right? So small and large. I do everything up to 10 and 20 acre farms in the country. So I do all types of soil remediation, from toxic soil remediation to chemical, industrial, what have you, all of that. So on the farm itself, I was establishing equity in growing the apples. So the tax for the 40 acres is about $10,000. So I was working a plan on where I could grow enough stuff to balance that out. So an acre and a half of apple trees at full maturity in 3 years, right? So about a year into it, yeah, we'll cover the cost of that.
Oh, wow.
Plus some. You see what I mean? So I have cousins down there, and this is the deal that I was establishing during harvest time, right? So I was feeling. So this is what I was doing last year. So I was establishing all of that on paper, establishing the business and the trust, right, and then looking for who can be responsible enough to be hired and put on contract, whether it's on paper, whether they're family or not, right, for a specific harvest time. It's like a farm where you come and you pick your own produce, right? So how can I manage that which is what I was trying to figure out last year. How can I manage that remotely from 5 hours away, right? How can I establish that in terms of contracts and on paperwork and trust people? What happens if somebody comes on my property and steals something? So establishing all of those things from a business end, right? Protections, insurance, liabilities, right? Covering all that stuff in terms of myself, employees, whatever, right? So I turned the house that my grandparents had into a bed and breakfast. That's one business. The land itself is an estate. Business itself, which is part of the trust, right? So the bed and breakfast, the old home, is a secondary business. The farm itself is another type of business, right? And that's put within the trust, so both are protected, right? So that's what I set up, and then the produce and all of that good stuff. So 1.5 acres in the ground this year, another acre between the fall and the spring, hopefully by the start of next summer. So goal is to have 3 acres, right? So about 1.5 acres to pay it off, another 1.5 acres. Let's see. When it starts ripening, you see what I mean? That'll be about 15 to 25 per year, right? Each year, as long as it's reached harvest. So my plan is to turn a whole 10 out of that 40, right, into an orchard. Apples, peaches, plums, and then I want to do a small vineyard because I started a business relationship with a black winery, which is like right down the road. They do it. I'm not going to name it, dox myself, but they have a local winery. This is in the Durham area of North Carolina, and so what they're trying to do is they're trying to have events, right? People buy their wine, and they want to have local musicians and outdoor concerts and what have you. So I started a contract with the land on my property, and they bring the clientele, they bring the musicians, and they basically rent my space. So setting that up where I can do that remotely from DC and not have to be there. So I can be here in DC, right? And still money making in North Carolina because they're using my land. You see what I mean? I tax them 10% of whatever, right? So they do an event, 500 people come, they charge $5 for parking, $10 for the event, what have you. I make 15% off the top. Doesn't matter whether they have 400 people or 1,000 people, whatever. So anyway, I'm getting too much into it, but you guys get the what's up, yeah. What's up, Dick?
Oh no.
Hey, look.
So what you're trying to say is you're in the Apple Industrial Complex. You're making a lot of apple juice, apple sauce. So I've launched OnlyFanVids.com. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, I've got 2,600 Clown House recordings. I'll put it in the chat. I would love your subscribership. Your subscription means everything to me.
No.
You can do this and you can be happy, I promise. See, Eagle Hawk's working too hard. He's actually trying to grow things. Like, it's ridiculous. You know, I'm just trying to live stream and make some money over here to feed my baby.
You don't got a baby.
I do have a baby. It's...
I was thinking of the visual of like a middle-aged man in all caps. I guess. I mean, all the girls are doing it nowadays. I mean, I gotta make our money somehow.
Just put your feet in oatmeal. Cheeseburger.
No, you gotta ice down your feet. You gotta ice down your feet to prevent the arthritis. I know these things. I drink beer. It's called gout. You gotta ice your feet.
Oh my god, yeah. Who the fuck is this guy?
So I put the live stream in the chat, and don't worry, Eagle Hawk, no one watches this, so you don't have to worry about anybody stealing your Apple business.
What the fuck is this, bro?
This is called OnlyFanVid.com. We're a new startup. We've been live streaming Clubhouse for almost 5 years now, and we have over 5,000 videos of Clubhouse rooms.
About what?
About nothing. It's a Seinfeld show. You didn't know that? That's what Clubhouse is. It's a show about nothing.
Wait, so you're recording this right now?
Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. I need your support.
Bro, you're fucking fed.
Bro, I will send you a royalty check payment when Clubhouse and YouTube start paying me to listen to you. Yo, kick this Diddy. Why did they kick me? Why did they kick me?
Excited. And so doing this so that he wasn't convicted, so that you could retire and he could appoint another Republican to your seat, if that was it, like that's extremely short-sighted. Because now you have to deal with the hell that this has caused with people making sure that he's not elected again.
Well, I personally think that their decision is based on two factors. The first is that they are fairly confident that the Democrats and Biden will not abuse his power at all because they are good people. And the second part is the political concept of turnkey tyranny. Right? The key is already in the ignition and you just have to turn on the car. Even right now with the current laws, there is a huge scope for the US president to turn into a tyrant, but there are substantive restrictions by the United States Congress on it. They are just removing the restrictions and grinding up the key. So as and if Donald Trump comes into power, he can turn the office of the presidency into his own personal throne